I recently made this mocha mousse cake and literally nothing went right. It didn't turn out at all how I wanted and I almost didn't want to show it to you guys. But it did taste absolutely divine. So I thought for a change, I'd show you guys the true process of what I went through when making this cake. Alright, you guys asked for it, so here's the true behind the scenes of what went down for me to make this mocha mousse cake. And my god, was it a journey. So first I had to make two types of sponge cake, chocolate and coffee, and you'd think that would be the easy part, but really nothing was easy with this cake. The coffee batter just didn't turn out right, it was really deflated. I went ahead and baked it anyways because I was hoping it would be fine, but it wasn't fine. It was really rubbery, just not right, so I did go through the effort of making it again. I then moved on to make my mocha mousse using a technique that I hadn't used before. And the mistake that I made here was using coarse ground coffee. No matter how many times I would try to strain this, it was just too grainy. I even tried to blend the batter so it would become smoother, but when I mixed it in my whipped cream, I just knew this was not right and not up to standard. So I did go through the trouble of making the mocha mousse again using instant coffee instead, and it was just infinitely better. Look at that. Then I made the coffee syrup and the coffee Italian meringue buttercream. Both of those went fine, and let's move on to part 2. Let's continue the tumultuous journey of making this mocha mousse cake that became the bane of my existence. I really wanted to try a checkerboard effect between the coffee and chocolate sponges, but it was not worth the effort because there just wasn't enough contrast between the two types of sponges and the mocha mousse between them. I covered my cake with the Italian meringue buttercream and smoothed it out so I would have a very smooth surface for the coffee glaze that I wanted to make for the top. This coffee glaze was an absolute disaster. First, it became really lumpy, so I strained it, and then I said my prayers and tried to cover my cake. This glaze looked amazing for a few seconds and then it all ran off. So I prayed and tried again, and then it all ran off again. I prayed and tried a third time, and it all ran off again. So I had to abandon ship and just try to do a chocolate mirror glaze. But because the cake itself was so ruined, even that didn't turn out right. So I tried to cover it with a chocolate collar and that didn't turn out right, and I had to make it again, and that's how we ended up with this cake. Hey, at least it tasted great.